Good morning. Today is what, Friday? Friday early morning. Night for us actually. Couple of days ago, I think it was Wednesday, I talked about ECOMAC. The intervention force is still in Banjul, and we are heading into the 7th anniversary of their arrival. They came in for a good purpose. Yaya and Gambia National Army or Gambia Armed Forces refused to accept the election results of 2016. And we had to get help from our friends and neighbors to come and kick their butts out. So Yaya is a problem. And obviously that army is a problem. Day before yesterday, I made a video on the fact that as an independent democratic republic, we don't expect an occupying force, or we don't expect a foreign force, to be the protector of our government and our public institutions. That should be us. And we got to figure a way to do that. Otherwise, are we an independent nation? No. Then I woke up yesterday morning, there is a news flash that is running all over in the internet that Gambia government announced an attempted coup by members of the Gambia National Army. What a coincidence. How timely. I talked about ECOMAC. And maybe a lot of people will be like, well, then you don't know what you're talking, because this is why they are there, to stop the army from doing a coup. But if that is the case, is that how we want to solve that problem? How long would ECOMAC stay so we don't have a coup from those kids? I guess gotta think about that. Anyway, that is the situation. Gambia government announced an alleged attempted coup on the Barrow administration. Is this true? I don't know. I hope the government that made that announcement come up with the evidence to show to the public that that's what happened. I hope so. I don't like that government. Not because I hate anyone there, but it's not a democratic government. It's not a functioning democracy. That's my only beef. And that would apply to anybody who is in that office right now and in that form, in that state. Doesn't matter my brother, my mom, my uncle, you, me, doesn't matter. But I also don't like military intervening in our political process. I mean, there are no solution. After all, that's not their job. So I want government to show us proof to that allegation. And I also want the government to prosecute everybody who has ever done coup in that country, because it's a treason. It's a treason. I don't know why Edwards and Sana Sabali are the friends now, are the statespeople. They're still walking around. Those people should be prosecuted. Yaya Jammeh in absentia. Anyway, I'm getting out of my topic. So, if it is true, we want to see proofs, evidence. What make them, because they said intelligence reports. What do they know? They have intelligence? Seriously? Okay. All right. Or are they making this just to justify keeping ECOMAC around? Again, if that is the case, is that the solution? Is that a sustainable solution to keep foreign forces in our country to protect a democratically elected government by the people? I don't think so. Then we should come to the table to find rather a solution to this problem. Maybe they just want to garner political favor, political sympathy. They say it. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But as a citizen, when somebody come to me, or as a human being, with anything, I have the right to think all the possibilities. What is this? Until I know, I have every right to think any way I want. Especially rational, logical thinking. National security. Often all of this super security complex that is established in our country is put in place in the name of national security. You ask that question to whoever is saying it, they can't give you a coherent answer. What is it? Because Gambians are not after each other with machetes. We don't go and chase each other in our houses, kill each other or beat each other. We interact in a very ordinary human way. Do we need all these apparatus to be secure? Okay, even if your answer is yes, are we secure? You're gonna ask yourself, shoplifting, your cell phones. How many cell phones do you lost since the advent of cell phones in Banjul? Burglaries. Even construction site, construction material, incomplete construction site are vandalized and then the material are stolen. In that country, I mean, it's socially rotten. It's socially rotten. And we are paying about 35% of our national budget towards security and security-related issues. So what do we mean national security? Does it mean to encircle the president with 1,000 men with guns and ammunition? Against who? Brahma? Boy, he can come and sleep with me. I don't like him, but I wouldn't even frown my face to him. I'll tell him how I feel, and I hope he allows me to do that. Because that's my right. They put all the security complex around the country, and it's not a Gambia problem. It's everywhere, including the United States. In the name of national security, and that security turn around to oppress us. How many people are killed by the guns we bought for our protection, for this national army? And then how many times that national army stood for our protection at the border or anywhere? Never. But every year, including this year, since the advent of institution of that organization, every year people are killed, mass graves. In fact, the national establishment of that army change our socio-cultural fabric in so many different ways and in bad ways. When I arrived in Banjul late 70s to go to school, one day we woke up and there was rumor that some Mauritanian shop owner in Halfdai was killed by thieves. It's like the whole city was running out there. That's how strange it is to hear that somebody is killed in that country. I mean, that's a no-no for Gambians. In fact, we equate that to going to hell. happening in Brikama. People will stand point blank and kill their fellow citizens, doing nothing, just with wheelbarrows. And then they will turn around, dump them in those wheelbarrows. In Kanifing, in the April incident 2020, 200 or 201, 2000 or 20001. The people they shoot, you see, kids are yanking them around, running with them. Nobody cares anymore. That is not the Gambia I was born in the 70s over there. That is because we have the army. If we want security, and every country wants relative security, and it's a fundamental function of a democratic government to provide the people, is the first role of a democratic government. But it doesn't mean that you can secure, human nature is very complex. It doesn't mean that you can secure every incident, every move. All we need in Gambia is an adequate police force. It will provide us with all the security needs we want, especially if we do it right. Because that's a key question. That police force doesn't have to be in Banjul. We have to break that police force into regions. Each region would have your own command. And each region will right-size your force based on the population and the crime rate and the crime pattern in that region. Because regions are different in terms of population density or pure population numbers, and they are different in terms of people's behaviors. So each region would have their own command. Of course, they will link with these people. Nobody is living in isolation. That force will be right-sized. They will be right-trained. And they will be right-equipped. That is what deserves to be paid. We gotta pay for those. Not to establish stops everywhere, ask us everything on between the sky and the ground. We don't want that. And any unlawful behavior by members of this force gotta be punished severely. Every tool in the law book should be applied, because if you give people responsibility, you gotta hold them to a higher standard. That's what we need to have. A regional police force, not a centralized police force controlled by Banjul. It's just corrupt, doing nothing, abuse our rights, no due process of law. Second, we gotta have some form of a national troop or a national squad, whatever we want to call it. I don't know. Maybe we go back to field force in the old days. It doesn't matter what we want to call it. You can consider them as a more elite group, but that's not their purpose. Elite is not their purpose. What I'm trying to say is at national level, things may happen. Crowd controls, presidential guard, emergencies. These three teams shouldn't be more than 1,000 to 1,500 officials. And then they should have a nationwide net of intelligence apparatus so they can help the different regional forces as well. Provide them with timely information should they need one. They don't have any command on over them. And these people should not be engaged in regular day-to-day law enforcement. We find them in the street doing that. Oh yeah, you drop the uniform that day. And maybe not only that, you go to jail. We have to be strict the way we apply the law. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. That is what that force would do. So those two are enough to provide us Gambians and Gambia the security we need to be a country of peace, to be a country of people who get up every day, go about their daily life. It doesn't mean we are not going to have bad apples amongst us who will do things, but they will be able to take care of that. The National Army, Gambia National Army. This army was formed by Jawara and his team in 1985. They came up with an act to the National Assembly, then in the Parliament, called Gambia Arms Act, 1985, yeah, something like that. You ask yourself, do we need an army? Do we need an army? Because army serves a purpose. The purpose of an army is to fight a war. Do we have a need for war? The answer is no. Could we have need for war? The answer is no. If we have war, can we win it against whoever we think it would be? The potential countries that we can go to war with. Can we win it? The answer is no. So why did we get an army? To threaten the people? That is what it was. We create an army to be a threat, to keep the people down, to suppress the people. And that's what they have done for the 30-some years now. Since 1985. That is all they have done. They have killed civilians for nothing. The only time that army had the opportunity to fight, even though we don't want them to fight, they run under the bed. And that is the invasion of, or the intervention by ECOMOG. 250 men camped out in Farafenni. They were not at the border in trenches to shoot them down. They were not even at the gate of their own barracks in Farafenni. Instead, some of them, the one called CDC, was dancing with kids. But that is the guy who will put on all kinds of juju, threaten all of us. That is the guy who, if he goes to his village, and then X and Y have a domestic dispute, he will put on his uniform and go and stand there and be the arbiter. The moral cleanser. I mean, it's a serious abuse. So, I said we don't need an army. Whatever we think of the role of an army is, or whatever the actual role of an army is, we have to rely as a nation on international law. Gambia has established borders under no dispute. Gambia is a member of pretty much every international law, every international convention. So we, for our territorial integrity, we will use the international law, not the strength of an army to keep it. Because we can. And I'll come to that point. Our geography is such that we are surrounded by Senegal on the north and the east and on the south. The only opening we have to anything else is the 48 to 50 kilometers along the Atlantic coast. That is the only side that is open to something other than Senegal. So geographically, we don't have anyone to fight with except Senegal. So let's look at the socio-economic aspect of war with Senegal. They are bigger in population. If Senegal wants to conquer Gambia, they don't need to fire a bullet. You can just ask citizens to come over. In a few hours, it will be French. They don't need to fight. Economically, their economy is, what, 6, 7, 10 times bigger than ours? They can swallow us. They can swallow us. Militarily, it's the same. Military might has direct correlation to the size of the military. Senegal's military is 15 times larger than ours. They are 20 times more equipped and trained than ours. We stand no chance fighting them. After all, we are inside Senegal. So, we don't need a war machine. We don't need a war machine. We can rely on international law. We gotta be good neighbors. And we have so far been, because these are the same people. We are the same people, no difference. We don't have quarrel at the border, this is mine, this is yours. It's not there. People go in and out as they wish. Except bad politics that we are playing at the Casamas border, both Yaya and Barrow, meddling into their affairs that can throw us inside that chaos there. We've never been bad with Senegal, and we shouldn't. Even if we ignore all these facts that I mentioned that should replace the need for an army, because after 32 years, January 19, 2017, was 32 years after we put in place an army. Every year we pump in money, we train people, we send them to all kinds of places, Turkey, UK, US, everywhere training. Amazing. We could train people on productive ventures that will add up our economy and now the quality of living, the quantity of living of the people. All this training, and we bought a bunch of weaponry. For who? Killing ourselves. They kill more civilians than anything else. But even if you are one of those who justify the need for an army, that you think we should have a fighting force, because I cannot conceive in my head that a Gambian would be there who will tell me we need an army to control Brahma. Army to control me? Weapon of war to come and control me? You don't need that. Boy, you can control me with your hands. You don't, I mean, really? Any of those kids can whoop my ass. I mean, where am I going to go? We don't need an army for the people. We don't need an army to enforce laws. They're not trained for it. They're not equipped for it. If you put them there, they abuse us. But even let's for conversation's sake, let's assume you are one of the people who think the army should be there. Because, I mean, if you are a rational thinker and then you tell me that, I look at you like, wow. But most of those people, they bring one thing, I'll come to that. Even if you are one of them, Gambian National Army is an unnecessary economic burden. Look, we need every dollar we can lay hands on for so many things. Over a quarter of the rice we eat in that country is imported. We need dollars to purchase it. Whether government purchase this or not, the businesses that do it needs the help of government and the banks to acquire the dollar. And the banks cannot acquire the dollar if we are not productive, because the banks cannot just hold the dollar here and sell it. The dollar here has to be equated to some value that the people outside need, so you can get dollar. So why are we throwing the little we have on something that we don't need, nobody needs? And then, in fact, it's an abusive machine to our civil liberties, to our rights. I mentioned earlier on, Gambian National Army is the single most agent that changes the social moral fabric of that country. Again, I talked about that incident of some Mauritanian shopkeeper found dead in the morning in Banjul. That was the year I arrived in I didn't go there, but you can see people running just to go to a distant closer. Today, we shoot people broad daylight and throw them in wheelbarrows. They are even running. I mean, can you imagine somebody running a wheelbarrow, become a market, you shoot him? There's no danger of that guy possessed to you or to whatever you are trying to do. Instead, in fact, he's running to give you all the space you need over there. Kids demonstrating in Banjul, April 10 and 11. They were gunned down more by their own colleagues who came from the same villages, drunken with power and drugs. Because, boy, they know that wasn't right. And they're still there. The Edwards, the Senator Sabalis, everybody is still working. I said to Sedi, I said, what's her name? The vice president. They're all there. Nobody is account for anything they did. Amazing. Amazing. This is we. When I came along killing somebody, that is considered an unexcusable sin. You're going to hell. How many mass graves that we know of? I'm not talking about. All because of that army. The guns we buy, supposedly to protect us, and we don't need them to protect us. So, the other point, the army is the single most affront to our efforts to grow democracy in that country, because they are always behind and they will never stop. Now that they taste power, they will never stop looking for it. You can give them all the big vehicles, you can give them all the big houses along all the coastal line at our cost. I have spent 10 years in Kuntaur. For some of you who know Kuntaur, 10 years. Talk about mosquitoes and heat. I was never given a penny by Gambia government, but you give an army officer who does nothing for us other than run between Brikama, between Yundum and Lameng and back. I supervised planting of over 1 million plants during my work time in Gambia. Amongst it that, I don't know how many myself I planted. I wish I took record of that. I have led bushfire campaigns. A whole month, village to village, village to village, with agriculture movie, fire ban. Not coming. You see me, you think it's a gorilla. Some beds I sleep on. You want to tell me that military officer we gave a house worth $5 million if we gave him or her a vehicle worth $6 million and they come and kick us on the roads, running around. What did they do for us? I saw Bibi Dabo's party's statement on the alleged coup. He's thanking them, our heroes. Our heroes. I'm not against anyone in the army. In fact, my family members are in the army. I'm talking about the institution and the country, not the people there. My blood members are in the army. But, I mean, Gambia is more important. I don't hate them. I'm not talking about them. I'm just talking about policy. Are those people productive to the country to give them all that? But because we thought if you give them that, then they would not be looking at where the table you are sitting at. You are making a mistake. They will always come. Stopping these repeated coup attempts is an affront, is a serious challenge. And the only way to do it, dissolve the army. The act that formed it, just put an act. One line, you do with it. Call UN to come and grab those guns and give us a little bit of a check on them. They will be more than happy to do that. If the argument is employment, each and every one of those people, you can either go to agriculture, you can be a handicraftsman, carpentry, tailor, all of those will produce something for our nation. Carpenters can produce metal workers, furniture for our schools. Seamstresses can produce material for our hospitals. Even if we don't sell those outside, we can use them in the country. That will reduce our import bill. That's how good public policy make us think. I mean, how many millions we spend on ordering shoes and uniforms? Guns. To come and kill ourselves? To come and arbitrate somebody's marital dispute? Or somebody's parental dispute? Really? Or to come and kick us off the roads because a cadet officer is going to his home? I mean, who is he? Who owns the country? We cannot even allow a president to do that all the time. Only if he is in our service. Not every day he comes. The country is ours, not even God. To conclude, anyone who is in public policy position today, who is a policy maker, think about this seriously. There is no ECOMOG station in Gambia that will stop this from happening. Jawara took comfort of the British, the bad contingent there, the British training contingent in Nigeria, and they kicked him out. ECOMOG is not in Gambia for Gambia. ECOMOG is in Gambia primarily for the interests of Senegal. They want to use our country to squeeze the Casamas problem. Either by the present or by making Gambia not a friendly place for them to be running around. Look, I'm not a fan of that problem. I wish those people, they can find a solution with the authorities in Dakar and Casamas somehow be autonomous. They can elect their own officials. They can have their subventions from Dakar. They can live the way they want. I don't think it will be a good idea to be your own country. But that's for them to say. But Gambia shouldn't be the kingmaker there. That would be a serious mistake. And Senegal should never want to use it. But they have taken this opportunity to squeeze us on their interests. The number one interest was the bridge at Ilitenda. Now, economically, they can just settle. I hope we are collecting as much toll fee as we can. Can let them go free like that. But maybe we are not because they paid for it. Have you seen the cost of that in our budget? That bridge? Or did we build it with Adam Barrow's blood? This is the problem. Every Gambian, think about this. If we want them to employ those 1,000 kids around, let us send them to productive areas. You have to work to produce something so we can pay you. If you are not producing something just to run between Lameng and Banjul, and next day come and kill us, no, we shouldn't be paying anybody for that. And we shouldn't keep an army, a standing army for law enforcement. We have the police for that. We should develop the police force. Train them well to do their job well. Equip them well to be able to execute their job well. Size them well so they can be up to the job. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you in the next video. Not decided on that topic yet. Bye-bye.